All right, so welcome everybody. Tonight we are reviewing all of 2024. Well, not all of, some of our favorites from this past year of builds that we did. The majority of our projects are ADUs, but we do have just one or two single family homes. I can think of one. But we're also going to do something unique. The first half, we're going to go over some of our homes. And then the second half, we have some homeowners who are coming to join us to answer some questions and talk about their experience in building with us. If you aren't sure who I am, or if you have not been to one of these events before, my name is Avril Williams. I am the head of marketing for Backyard ADUs. If you get our newsletters or emails, I'm the person behind the scenes and along with our social media. And then with us, we have Jeff Bowman. He is our small home advisor in Maine. So if you decide to build with us, or if you are joining us and you have built with us in Maine, then you'd be working alongside Jeff. And then we have Chris Lee, our head of design and development, who is standing in for Tim O'Reilly, who, if you were in Massachusetts, you most likely worked alongside Tim or Rick. And so they aren't here tonight. So Chris is going to fill in and cover Massachusetts for us. A few housekeeping things. We do have the chat turned off. That said, if you have any questions, we highly encourage questions. Go ahead and put them into the Q&A. There should be a little button at the bottom of your screen that just says Q&A. You can drop your question in there. And if it's relevant to what we're talking about in the moment, then I may interject and ask your question on your behalf. Otherwise, hopefully, this will be up to you two, Chris and Jeff. If we have time at the end, we will have questions, a time to do some extra questions that are left over. So hopefully we get all your questions answered. I think that's it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, we're going to highlight a few homes. We built more than we're highlighting here. So just wanted to give you guys a sample of what we built last year.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive right in. April, do you want to share and bring up slides?
Jeff, are you able to do it? Just because if I share my screen, I'm doing a lot of things behind the scenes here.
I can do that. Yes, let's go ahead and share. Let's see.
So, there you go.
All right.
All right.
Well, good evening, everybody. As April said, my name is Chris. I'm currently head of design and our development work at Backyard ADUs, and just also happen to be the president and original founder. But I'm stepping in here tonight for Tim O'Reilly. I don't know what he's doing that could be more important than talking about 2024 and all the houses that he worked on, but he's doing something. But tonight we're going to take a look at some of the houses that honestly look the best and got the best decorated. As Jeff said, we built more than 6 houses last year. We ended up building 27. We closed 27 houses last year, and we're going to take a look at 6 of them, which represents pretty significant growth for us from 2023. In 2023, we only did 17, so we did about 50% growth. And that's been kind of the name of the game at Backyard ADUs, is trying to figure out how can we continue to build more little ADUs for more people and continue to do a good job and get better and better. Because there's a lot of people that want these things and not enough people to build them. The house you're looking at on that screen was from 2023, and that was the house of the year 2 years ago. It was a really exciting house we built in South Portland. And it was actually a partnership with a local architecture firm. We built it modularly. Our crew finished it, but Barbet and Wheelock are responsible for making it look this good. We do pretty good stuff, but this is a really elevated version, and it's always nice to partner with an architect who has this kind of detail. So we're going to quickly go over who we are for those that don't know, who is Backyard ADUs, who's behind the scenes. We're going to quickly highlight 4 houses that we built. Jeff and I are just going to kind of go back and forth. And then we have 2 of our homeowners with us. And it's honestly the two of the better houses that we did this year. And it's because the homeowners were so properly involved in the process throughout the way and helping us really nail and get exactly what they want. And then throughout the time, Avril said, get in the chat, throw in questions. We like to be interrupted. There's nothing worse than doing a Zoom and just being a talking head. It gets boring and you never know if anyone is still listening. So please jump in. I will also say ahead of time, my wife didn't get home quite enough time. So I've got this cute pink bear over here. She may interrupt time to time, but I've got snacks and toys and stuff, and my other daughter's watching TV. But we're gonna work through it, and I think we're gonna have a great night.
Yes, sir. All right, I'll take the floor for a second here. So who we are, based in Brunswick, Maine. We have quite a few different regions. We expanded into New Hampshire last year. That was exciting. Excited to get Des in here next year for a review of 2025. Include some of our New Hampshire homes that are already underway. Chris founded the company in 2019 in Massachusetts and has since moved headquarters up to Brunswick, Maine. And as Chris said, we built 27 homes last year, and we have a lot more on the schedule for 2025.
Yeah, Jeff, we have that many to complete through June. So it's going to be a heck of a year, and that team and that photo, as we've added another 10 heads since that photo, we're up to 34 people helping get all of this done. And we're constantly looking for more. We actually have open positions if anyone on the call knows carpenters or design professionals or any people that are civil engineering oriented. We'd love to talk to them.
Great.
All
right.
The name, obviously, we're Backyard ADUs, and as anyone on this call probably knows, especially with Maine and Mass passing on these rules, it's an accessory dwelling unit. And it's a little house. I mean, it's a little house. It's built in a backyard. Most of them have 1 or 2 bedrooms, but we've built them with 3. They don't have to be all electric, but everything that we do is all electric and super efficient. And it's honestly because it's cheaper to live in, and on a small scale like this, it doesn't cost that much more to make it a little bit extra. And there's something that, if done well, can be designed and built really fast. They don't have to be long architectural processes. They don't have to be long, drawn out built schedules. You're not hunting for land. You can just get them done. And they're a great opportunity for consolidating households, bringing family closer together. They tend to be, even at current price points, they tend to be a cost-effective option for having somewhere to downsize into.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Our first home of the night is a home that we built out in Pownell, Maine. Some winter exterior photos here. A quick overview. We met with the client at a home show last spring. They brought some designs to us at the Green Home Energy Show. That's either in March or April. They had a 1-bedroom, 1-bath design, farmer's porch, and her daughter lives just outside of Freeport. So we got her moved in before Thanksgiving, sometime in November. So it was a fairly quick turnaround, which was great for everybody involved. She sold a house and moved to Maine.
And did we meet them for the first time? It was April at the Green Maine Homes and Energy Show. So it was
that's when we met them.
Moving in December.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I
They
didn't
came
know
to
that. Okay, yeah.
that was them. Yeah, exactly. So I love her house. She did a great job with it. We did a great job with it. So when we're building an ADU, every lot is different. So there's certain site considerations for every unique parcel. Hers, they had lots of land, but we knew that we wanted to put in a new well, a new septic, and be a little further away than is typical for an ADU on a single family piece of property. Again, they had over 50 acres. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't crowding the primary house, and gave the homeowner her own space to spread out. So
Yeah,
she's a
and
gardener. Yeah.
this lot had some unique pieces where there's an opportunity to divide this ADU as a single family home in the future. So part of this distancing out was long-term planning. Let's put this thing in a position where right now let's pay taxes as an ADU, but in the future possibly get value as a standalone single family home. And it's a good one to show, Jeff. I mean, that's important as people are going through this, especially in Maine.
Yeah.
Maine, there's a lot of big lots and there's a lot of opportunities for subdivision. Not as much in Massachusetts, but definitely in Pownell, definitely in Freeport, definitely in Bowden, definitely
Yep.
in Limerick, wherever it might be.
Yeah, definitely. Bridgeton.
Bridgeton.
So a little before and after, not exactly the same place, but you kind of get the idea. Designing the home, I'm trying to not take too much time with everybody's home because we had a lot of good homes to get through. But designing her home, again, she came with a sketch on a napkin, and we were able to make it come to life here. So things that we wanted to consider were lots of storage, closet space. So we have that running down the middle of the house, from utilities to coat closets to an oversized bedroom closet that she has her own organizer set up in there, a utility closet. Cooking is important for her. So we have a full-size kitchen with an eat-in island. It feels fantastic. We were there just recently, and it's a wonderful feeling kitchen, chef-sized kitchen, full-size appliances. She cooks every day, so it was important for her to have that. And then we also did a cathedral ceiling. So I'll get to some of the photos here because those sometimes speak a little better than I do. Here's the portico going in on the side entrance, and then her farmer's porch on the back. We moved in. She just moved in November, so I'm excited to come back and see this in the spring and summer. As I said, she's a gardener as well, so I'm excited to see what she ends up doing with the space. Design features for her, she really wanted to have that bay window in the living room, so we made sure to have that in there. And there's a pretty photo of that nice kitchen.
Oh my goodness.
Too, that I noticed when I was
Yeah.
there, the amount of windows, and it's hard to see here, but I think you can see it more in the walkthrough, and the expansive space. It feels so large because of the outdoors is part of the room. So,
And I'm not even kidding everyone. I have not seen this yet. This is like a first reveal for me. And this is unfortunately only 25 minutes from my house. This is
oh,
phenomenal. Jeff, I did
it's
have a
so
question.
good.
The entrance wall had no windows on it. What was it a budget thing? Like what was going on with that front gable?
On
With
the
it?
right side here.
Yeah, is that the northern exposure or was it
Yeah, that's northern exposure, and then that is where the kitchen is. So that's where. So we have a big window above the sink here on the right, or yeah, on the photo on the right, and then that wall is where this kitchen wall is here. So there just wasn't. She preferred to have the cabinet space, and then we have plenty of light flooding in from the full glass door. These two big windows here in the living room. This is all the same space. So we didn't need extra windows in there.
And I imagine they'll have plans to put some kind of big cypress or some nice evergreen on
Plantings.
to
Exactly.
block the windows.
As soon as she moved in, the ground froze over, so she hasn't had a chance yet. But we are excited to see. Again, sorry for flipping through these so quickly, guys. We just have so many nice houses to get to.
That bathroom.
I know, her bathroom. She did such a phenomenal job. She had specific furniture. We were talking to her recently, and she was saying that how much she had to downsize. That is a constant theme when you're building small, but it's not. It wasn't even a pain point. She just was saying, my furniture. She moved from a farmhouse in New Hampshire. She was saying 4+ bedrooms, a barn, all kinds of things. So she had to be selective with what she put in here. Can I just click this here, April? Was that?
You should be able to just hit play and pause it where you need to. I don't know
Okay.
how quickly it goes through, but I try and get
So we're
everything.
going in the side entrance there. There's the utility closet, washer dryer, yeah. Heat pump, dryer technology, fantastic. Nice big bathroom. You feel you could have a party in that bathroom.
And it's just borderline. It's almost ADA, but not quite.
Yep. Yep. Which is fit her needs exactly. We had a lot of discussion about that. Ceiling fan in the bedroom, the transom light above the bed, nice big oversized closet. As she says, she likes to go shopping. She has a lot of clothes, so she wanted a big closet for all the clothes. We did the cathedral ceiling in this one, which is kind of a theme with some of these homes that we picked. But you can see the cathedral ceiling, how it gets taller there for those doors in the living room space. Oh, and there we are talking. How funny is that?
But that doorway, we talked about that doorway, the difference that it makes being higher into that little entryway there.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. You see the
And
different
all
door
the
sizes there.
storage.
Yeah.
So much with because there's the coat closet there, the pantry,
Yes, exactly.
that utility closet. There's so much.
Okay, let's see here. Oh. All right.
Okay.
I think this is the next slide.
So the next side, the boring side. Kind of a quick like commercial break here. Like how have we? It's all nice seeing beautiful houses that people have moved into, but what's how much pain is involved getting from design to move in? And honestly, you can kind of see like it used to be a lot more than it is today. And it's been kind of growing pains with us as a company trying to figure out how the heck do you do custom homes quickly and efficiently. Um, and we took an effort here going into the end of last year to look back over the last 2 years, and we looked at how many days were our construction projects open, how many days were yards ripped up across all of our projects in 2023 and 2024, and that's the blue line. And then we also looked at how long did it take our team to go from a $5,000 design deposit to a construction contract. And that's the red line. And you can see kind of the red line is all over the place. We had some that took multiple years, and then we had some that took 2 months. But getting into 2024, especially the third quarter of 2024, as we started honing in, it started getting very tight. And our average time in pre-construction, which is trying to figure out what the heck we're going to build and how much is it going to cost, was 2 months. We were cruising. But we still had some variability. I mean, some people it took 180 days. Some people did it in 4 weeks. But we got that average down to 2 months. And that's one of the things we're trying to do at this company and in our relationship with you. Over the last 5 years, we've really found that the longer we sit and try to figure out what we want to build and what you want your countertops to be and all of that stuff that's fun to work on, it's not fun in month 4. It's not fun in month 6. It's fun in month 1 and 2. And we really are trying to figure out how can we make sure you're going to get what you want in a tight time period, and identifying who needs a little bit longer to think about that stuff. And then the other big one here is how long is your backyard a total mess? Because I will tell you, if we're building an ADU in a 20,000 square foot yard or a 10,000 square foot yard, we're going to make a giant mess of it. It's going to look like a bomb went off. And the key here is to minimize that amount of time. So we're looking at active construction days. So when we mess up your yard to put a foundation in, to when you get an occupancy permit and we start getting out of there. And again, you can kind of see in 2023, we're all over the place. A couple of projects took us over a year before the homeowner was properly moved in and we were out of their hair. A lot of them were lower. But you can see in kind of 2024, we started to hone in on that a little bit. And as we got into the end, it got really tight. We had a couple houses in Portland that we finished in 2 weeks. Down on Cape Cod, I think we finished another one we finished in 2 weeks. But on average, we're getting things done in about 60 days. And when we go to contract with you, we're saying, look, we're going to get you moved in 10 weeks from when we break ground. And that's what we're targeting, but we're constantly trying to push that. And a big part of that is focusing on the design, focusing on what we can get done in that period, and not overcommitting, and being very honest with you about what's overcommitting and what's not. But all right, let's go to the next fancy house to look at.
Yeah, that's a great slide. I'm so glad we have this data now. All right, this
All
one's you,
right.
Chris.
Yeah, this is so this house, we did this in Concord. This was our second ADU that we had the opportunity to build in Concord. This is, it's right around 700 square feet. It's a 1 bedroom, and it was positioned kind of in the back of the existing house. It had its own walkway and entrance around the side off the driveway. It had its own parking. It wasn't quite as separate as the house we just saw in Pownell, but they didn't have quite as much land in Concord. But 1 bedroom, yeah, this is a good thing. So you can kind of see, you pull in off the main road. There's a nice big driveway, and they put a walkway in that kind of follows the blue. And someone can come into this. It's lived in by the homeowner's mom, and she's basically got a little private space, and she's got her own little private patio. She's behind the garage, so she's not right out behind the windows of the main house. This project had a ton of infrastructure work. The city of Concord, unfortunately, has some really unfortunate requirements from their water department and Department of Public Works that cost a fortune. In this situation, we had to replace perfectly good copper water lines because they were older than 50 years. And according to Concord, copper is bad after 50 years. I don't know where that information came from, but someone in the water department found that info. But it was news to us. But anyway, we had to do that. We couldn't get out of it. This project included a full new septic, which is part of Title V and can't be blamed on Concord, but they needed a new septic, so we did that. And as you saw in that first photo, there was some really nice landscaping in this project. We finished the ADU, and then they immediately brought in a landscaper to put the patio back together, get some plantings in. And the grandma who's living in here is a gardener. She's outside a lot. So looking at this space, this space has kind of two of my favorite features in ADUs that we designed. The first one down on the bottom, it's got a fully separate mudroom. In Maine, you call it an airlock a lot of times. But it's got a mudroom, it's got a space, it's got a pocket door. You can close that off. It's got a nice big closet, and you walk right into the kitchen. That's typically a design bias of mine. I love that. And then the other feature, which you can't really see from the 2D, but we have a cathedral ceiling in here and a flat ceiling over the living room. And what that does is it creates two really neat, distinct rooms while maintaining open concept. And it's something we've really started to try to do a lot of. We just did it in Northampton. We did it here. We did it for the first time in Northampton on the Shore House, probably 2.5 years ago. But it's a really cool feature, and it comes out really well, and it fits really well into a modular design, and getting the best out of the factory. So here's some photos. You can kind of see from the far right is that view from the flat ceiling living room. You can almost get the sense in there that it's a little bit more cozy when you're sitting on the couch with that flat ceiling. It's a little bit less volume. And then when you walk out into that space where you're probably going to be entertaining and bringing people into your house for the first time, you've got a little bit more space. It goes up to 9'8", and creates that just differentiation. But Roz here was also a very good decorator, very well thought through. And she was also one that really thought through this space, just like the two people that we're going to be talking to at the end of the call, who are presenting their homes. A few more photos. Awesome tile choice in the mudroom. It was a ceramic look slate, but she did a great job finding that on doll tile. And then she found that awesome polka dot pattern, which was similar. The Pownell house had something similar, but that just really makes the bathroom look neat, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And then here's another shot of that amazing landscaping. She did the wonderful, the big, I don't know how much she spent on the landscaping. It was probably, if I were to throw a number out there, I think you're looking at probably $30,000 to $40,000 with the landscaping, which unfortunately is why a lot of the houses we do don't end with this type of landscaping, because it's really expensive, especially when you add in this kind of patio work, and you can see there's a retaining wall there to bring that bed up. But good Lord. And if it were light out, I'd show you my attempt at a rock wall. It's a work in progress. But it certainly isn't someone doing it for me. It's clay from the pond out back, and it's rubble brought in. But it's gonna look good eventually by 2028, I think.
All right, I'm gonna play this here.
Yeah, and here's walking in from that mudroom. Awesome big island. You can see that cathedral ceiling going back and forth. She put an induction stove in here, which is pretty neat. Looking out in the backyard. And then looking into that cozier living room space. Yeah, and she did a great job. She did put gold. I always was wondering if you could make gold work, but she did gold handles on gold handles, and I think
Gold is in, Chris.
yeah, and
Gold is trending right now.
she said her daughter encouraged her to do that. It wasn't her decision, is what she said.
Oh.
But it did work.
Like,
And actually, the other house in Mass we're going to look at after this had gold too, and it really
Yeah.
did look good.
Yeah, I think one of mine has gold as well.
and
All right, great. Another commercial break here.
All right. Energy efficiency. How efficient are these cute little houses? Well, so we have the philosophy where we are making these, we're bringing the insulation up, we're bringing the energy efficiency up to what we call the point of diminishing marginal returns. And that is a concept from basically microeconomics, where it doesn't always make sense to spend the money on the next thing. And what we've done is we've kicked the tires really hard on how much insulation should you have, what type of windows should you have, and when should you stop spending money on that stuff. And we're building to a spec. You can see here in Massachusetts, we have to have all of our homes rated by a third-party rater, and they use the HERS index score, and that is influenced by basically Energy Code of Massachusetts. All of that flows into all of our other houses. So everything we build in Maine, everything we build in New Hampshire is elevated to meet the strictest energy requirements in Massachusetts. And we're building above code. And in Massachusetts, they have incentive programs where if you meet their stretch code, they're giving large checks. And in the case of these, it's $15,000 in order to hit a HERS score of 55 or below, as well as being all electric. And on average, we were right around 45. We weren't accelerating past that. In 2023, before the HERS algorithm was changed, we were closer to 40. But they changed how heat pumps were calculated and a couple of other things, which cost us a few points. But ultimately, the amount of energy used did not change. It's just how they calculated the scores changed. But we kept around 45 because that is the number that gets 15 grand. And I think the best house we did last year was 36. But you can kind of see on these reports look at how much does it cost to run this house for the year. This uses 17 cents per kilowatt hour, which is kind of silly because it's higher in Maine and Mass. And in Massachusetts, the average energy cost is 21 cents as well in Maine. So the average cost of this house, addressing for that higher end, is like $2,300 a month. And that's heating, cooling, lights, electrical, all in.
You mean a year? That's an annual.
Yeah. Not a month, a year. Yeah. But I think one of the really neat things to look at and focus on when you're dealing with and planning your small home build, if you look at the breakdown of the energy usage, you can see that heating and cooling is less than half of the total cost of keeping this home together. So Jeff noted that the Schmidt house had a heat pump dryer in it. That saves you more money immediately than doing triple pane windows. Because at some point, you're not really able to make your house more efficient from a heating and cooling standpoint unless you spend an absurd amount of money. Also, an induction stove is also a way to get ahead. We haven't done this yet, but low voltage lighting or a heat pump water heater. Efficiency on small homes is going away from the envelope to some degree and focusing on the appliances and making sure, honestly, you turn the lights off. It's a very weird concept, but also great to live in a small energy efficient house as well.
This is great. Okay, my turn again. So this is an ADU that we built in Portland, Maine, a handsome ADU. This is one of our smallest ones to date. It is 450 square feet. The reason for that, we'll get to. The site was a little difficult and we had a very specific footprint that we had to work with. We decided to go with the monoplane roof, so a shed style roof. Really makes the house feel tall when you're back there, and then also just gives it a more modern aesthetic. This was designed for a family member to be living in, and we were cognizant. Again, this is a very tight lot in Portland. I think it was about 6,000 square foot lot in Portland.
It was tiny, Jeff.
It was tiny
In there. And it's got
There's a photo. Yeah,
now. There's 3 units on this lot in Portland.
3 units.
3 units.
I think her house is near 2,000 square feet too. So I mean, it's just there's hardly any space. She's also an expert gardener, so she had a very established garden that we had to be very mindful of as well. So we ran into some things with this, as it happens. There was some improper documentation through the city of Portland, not to throw them under the bus, but it was a shortcoming on their side of things that we had to pivot time and time again.
DPW. It was misallocation of what was buried in the street, which I will give them a pass for. It was put in 100 years ago, but
true.
Yeah, DPW had some weird stuff in there.
Yeah, it was a pipe that burst on the main road 2 months before we set the house, and so that documentation never got properly in there, or at least it's sitting on somebody's desk.
No,
so
that's my door.
we had to, there was a few things that we had to keep in mind of. So we used the neighbor's driveway. Thank you very much, kind neighbor, for the crane on set day. So you can see the crane there in the neighbor's yard. We also used the neighbor's driveway. Very tight location there, and pulled that ADU up and over the house on the right there, and set it on the foundation. So when you build with us, we're our own general contractor, and we help with we do the permitting, we do the utility connections. We'll help you through the entirety of the process. We'll do all of those things with you, for you, keep you in the loop. So it is soup to nuts, as they like to say.
And this wasn't the tightest, Jeff, I would say. This has not been our tightest squeeze. I think that award goes to Somerville and North Maple Street in Northampton, where we only had 4 inches to spare on either side of the house backing into the driveway.
Oh, goodness.
You also don't see it in that, but if you'll go back to that last slide, all the parking that they needed was like a huge factor in that one. Right?
Yeah, so she had an existing apartment on the property. Yep, that's where the parking is. Existing apartment. We added an ADU, and then she has her existing house. And then all of the utilities going up the driveway, and it was kind of a mess, which is why it looks as busy as it does. But needless to say, we figured it out. She's such a great client. So designing the space, we had fun with this. There's only so much you can do with 450 square feet, but I think we came up with a really nice floor plan here, one that definitely is going to work for them. So we did the angled front door, breaks up the box look A full kitchen with full-size appliances, a washer, dryer, a full-size bathroom, and plenty of space in the bedroom for a desk, coat closet, all of those things. So pretty impressive amount of use for this small of a footprint. Some interior photos. Gosh, we did a lot of these cathedral ceilings this last year, but that cathedral ceiling, that's where the roof, the ceiling has that angle there, so you can kind of capture that in that middle photo and on the left photo there with those kitchen cabinets. But we actually were able to capture some photos before the ADU resident moved in, so a rare glimpse in between when it's not just construction photos and before it's fully decked out with their things. So full bathroom here. Kind of get through these here, and then we'll get to the
Another heat pump dryer over there, an LG wash tower.
Yeah, exactly. LG is making a killing on those.
The other thing of note to everybody, if you do an LG, if you do a heat pump dryer, you don't have to do venting, and it saves you 4 inches of space. So it's a huge space savings.
Yeah, 4 inches behind the unit itself.
Yep.
Sounds like the lighting is a little. There.
I'm glad that we were able to put that coat closet in there. We didn't have quite enough storage at previous iterations of this house. We had some very specific things we needed to design around, so it was nice to be able to put all of those things in there.
But for 450 square feet, it's like everything is there.
You're not missing anything. Exactly.
2 closets, the full
Jeff,
kitchen.
where am I going to put my surfboard and bike in here?
You're going to put it right underneath that heat pump right there on the wall unit right there.
My
Maybe put it-
brother actually lived in a little apartment in Vancouver, and he suspended his surfboard and his skis from the ceiling. He extended his storage vertically, and he had a little pulley device to let it down.
Yes, absolutely. Great. Okay, I think that was it. The quick and dirty one, but it was a great house.
All right. So I'm jumping back in. We are in Sandwich, Massachusetts. And if you're on Cape, it's actually Forestdale. It just happened to be governed by the people of Sandwich. But this was a really neat project for us. This is we were right between 800 and 900 square feet. And it was built in the backyard of her daughter's house. And in this project, we did an ADU, and we also built a garage with finishable space above, so her daughter could create a master suite in the future using some local site work contractors.
Great.
And another note here, you can see it's landscaped, it's done. There was some money that was put into landscaping, and this customer actually, she didn't want to have to deal with mud while grass grows, so they ended up doing sod, and they had a lawn next day. It was pretty
I was
neat.
gonna say, I was there one day and the next day I was there. It was like over the weekend, and then I was like, what? Now there's grass everywhere.
She brought sod in. And to give people kind of an idea, like it's more expensive, but it's not something where you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's absolutely insane. It was probably, so a typical seed and hay job is going to be like a $4,000 to $5,000 line item to get back to the point where you're watering and it's going to come back to life. This was like a $10,000 to $12,000. So it's about twice as much money. But you bypass, and honestly, growing a new lawn from new construction takes a couple of years. Like you're not back to a flush lawn for a little bit. It takes a long time to get it going. And I've lived in 2 houses built by backyard ADUs, and my biggest complaint, honestly, is it takes too damn long to have your dog not walking through mud in the front yard. But it is what it is when you dig stuff up. So this is the garage we did with a dormer, and it's a 2-car garage. And the goal is for them to finish the upstairs when they're ready for the daughter to have that master suite.
Right.
So this gives you an idea of the site plan here. It's set off to the back. It's not attached, but it feels very private in the back there. And it's got different views, and out in the backyard, it actually abuts a farm that's permanently in conservation. Hey, Lily, can you keep your voice down? Okay, that's okay. But can you yell at her over there? Please? I'll give you. Sorry about that. So let's look at the floor plan. So this is one of the bigger ADUs we did. And Sandwich has some really interesting rules around how they calculate square footage and bedroom counts. And they had hard caps on how many bedrooms were allowed on this lot based on not necessarily, it wasn't just septic capacity, but they had a ceiling for how many bedrooms are allowed. So in this situation, we maximize space both on what we called living area versus bathrooms or hallways, and also what had doors. So you can see that office, it's an office because it has a 4-foot cased opening. The bedroom is a bedroom because it has a closet and a door. So we really push the envelope on this floor plan to try to make it work and get Jen as much space as we possibly could. Yeah, you can go through some photos. And as you're looking at these, it's a stunning house. This came out phenomenal. This wasn't the first house that the homeowner had built. She had built a few before with her late husband. Her late husband was a woodworker and actually built that side table on the left there. You can see it. It's got all that inlay, and it's got. She has some of the most amazing furniture, and it was all built by her late husband. But they'd built houses before, and they knew what to ask for. They knew what to expect, and they really thought about this, and the result is amazing. It's like a very classic Cape Cod on the inside.
Is it a stove there on the wall there below the TV?
That is an electric fireplace.
Mm.
And those have become quite popular. I think we've done 4 or 5 of them recently.
Cool.
Really neat kitchen. She did a subway tile with a bevel, which just gives it a slightly more elevated look, and it doesn't cost that much more. Kind of a thing to keep in mind if you want to go on the cheaper end of tile, but you want it to look a little bit nicer. And then she was in our standard Marilette Marlin line, which is neat.
Yeah.
This is the upstairs of that ready to finish space. So it's already this floor sheathing, and needs to be insulated, and it's kind of a blank canvas for building walls, and we stubbed electrical and plumbing for the bathroom that they'd have up there.
Right. Seems like a nice workaround for them to be able to do this as phase 2, but get mom in that ADU from the get-go.
Yeah, and before we close on that Butler project too, I mean, the good and the bad, I will say, so we planned this one in 2023, and it won the record for the longest in pre-construction. It took way longer than it should have to figure out how to spec out the ADU and how to spec out the garage. And it certainly frustrated the homeowner. If you were to talk to Jen, she'd tell you those guys took way too long to figure out how to build my garage. And she's right. We should have told her we're not building your garage. But we didn't. We've gotten a little bit more mature since then and know what we can and can't do. But this took a very, very long time to plan. We were working with Jen for over, I think it was like 10 months before we got to a construction contract. And on top of that, the build process took forever. We got Jen moved in pretty quickly as far as things go. We got her moved in, I think it was 3 months to occupancy permit. But then it took us another 3 months to finish this garage. And that was a huge source of frustration during the build process. And again, it's us growing up as a company, learning what we can and can't do. But at the end of the day, you saw the photos. It came out fantastic. She paid what was in the contract. It just took a little bit longer than was expected. But at the end of the day, full custom build in under a year from design deposit to move in. And today, like I said, we're trying to hit 2 months in pre-construction and get you moved in 6 months after that with the pause because to get to construction. So we're really trying to focus on those times to get to a pretty product, but not get the frustration of time lag.
Not to interject, but I keep seeing some hands going up. So if you have a question, just go ahead and hit the Q&A button and drop your questions there so that I can make sure they get answered for you.
Great. Okay, our next house, Averill,
Yes.
you want to take the floor for a second?
Yeah, so we're excited because I'm gonna figure out how to do this. Welcome Claire, the homeowner, to come up on stage, as we'll call it. Here we go.
Yay!
We're super excited.
Exciting to get
Yay.
a guest star coming on the
Yeah.
Zoom with us here, a happy homeowner.
And I don't think we get we don't tell a lot of the story behind the homes, or as far as from the homeowner's perspective. So this is super exciting. Hi, Claire.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yay.
You're muted too. Let me see if it'll. While she's getting that unmuted, we did have a question that was being tried to be asked earlier. Can
Yep.
you give a rough estimate of the cost of the house you just shared? I'm assuming the Forestdale one.
Yeah, in Forestdale, that one all in with the garage on Cape Cod came in. It came in around 600,000. But that's the septic, new water connection, full new driveway, fill. We regraded and redrained the entire yard. If we were to do that project without the site concerns, with a little bit more basic, that ADU you'd expect to come in between 350 and 400,000. And a garage like that with it ready to finish upstairs is going to come in between 100 and 120,000.
Great. Hi, Claire.
Hello.
Welcome.
Yay! Thanks for joining us, Claire.
Happy
Excited
so
to
we're
show
just-
off your home here.
We're just going to go through kind of how we did the last homes, and Jeff can kind of prompt you with some questions, or feel free to jump in if you'd like, and we'll just walk through the process that you had.
Yeah.
Jeff, if you want to take it from there.
Yeah, great. Yep. So this is the front of Claire's home here. Let's see here. Let's get this going. Quick overview. So this is a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath is what we landed on. 1,100 square feet. And she has some of the best design features that I've ever been a part of to put in one of these ADUs. So some of which include a nice mudroom as you walk in, this wonderful sunroom.
Look at those chairs.
I know.
Jeff.
They're wonderful. I know. Around the bay window, which was a design feature we wanted to make sure we had. And then that your bathroom as well is phenomenal. That was show worthy. So site considerations for putting the house here on her daughter's property. Her daughter had a rare double lot in Portland, so it was you can see a nice wide open lot there in the center of the screen, left of the house. So that's where the ADU is now. Is fun to find the before photo before Claire moved up here. And yep, we have shared driveway. It's a nice dead end street for us, and then we were very mindful of your neighbors during the design process. Claire, how do you like living in your home? What are some design features that you like about where you live in?
I love it all. The sunroom especially, I spend a lot of time. That's where I am right now, except there's no sun because it's night. But it's a great room. It's filled with windows, and it's just very comfortable.
I love it. Yeah, that sunroom. I've had multiple, I bet at least 5 prospective customers and current customers. They must have seen some posts that we put up because they knew about your sunroom. So I'm excited to get some more photos up and out. That's a great feature. Yeah,
Mhm.
so we designed this kitchen here. I love the cabinet color that you chose. Nice walk through here. You have the island, but you didn't have the overhang that can happen on some of the islands that we put in for bar stools. That was a conscious decision to make sure that we weren't limiting the walking space as you enter the home. Um, we'll go through and do a quick video tour of your home.
There's that mudroom you mentioned. I know we didn't.
Yes.
And Chris,
So
there's
nice.
gold finishes. I'm like, I
Yeah.
told Claire I'm copying these the cabinet color and the gold. I'm like, I want it. I love it.
The grandfather clock in the corner. I love that. That's got a cool story. This eat-in bay window. Love that. Pantry. Yes, we were able to do. This is one of the larger ADUs we built last year at just above 1,100 square feet. But we wanted to make sure that you had 2 bedrooms that you could fit properly, good sized beds in there. And then we started off with a 2 bathroom floor plan, 2 full bathroom, and we ended up going down to 1.5. We decided that you didn't really need that extra shower. We had 2 0 threshold showers, and decided to nix one and be able to move the washer dryer into that half bath, which was I think a nice feature.
Mm.
Yeah,
Claire,
I
you
love
want
this
to talk
shower.
about that shower too? I know we had talked about because
Yeah.
I was asking about the threshold, but you're saying that you
Yeah.
don't need it.
No, you just walk
Yeah.
right in. If need be, you can get all the way in with a walker or a wheelchair or whatever you need. It's nice. There's no tripping at all.
But you told me
Yeah,
the tip that you need, that you would do differently if you did it again.
I don't think.
With
I
the
love the
faucet,
whole house.
the handles. We should
the
have put the
handles.
handles on the open side of the bathroom as you walk in for the controls. So that way you don't have to. We
Get
that was
wet.
Yeah, I
yeah
would move that. That's true.
yeah in
But
future.
that's it.
Yeah, I love that shower.
It's a nice house.
Yeah, and you guys had come to us with, here it is. Yes, we would have moved the controls there on that wall where the shower head is. We would have moved those in future homes. Move those over to uh, the other wall, the other white wall there. Just so that
Yeah.
way they're easy to get to. We had put this accessibility glass pane here with a hole there in when we were ordering it. It all made sense. And then once we installed it and put it in there, we were like, oh, you have to have. I have long arms, and I don't know if I could reach that myself.
How
At least not
long?
comfortably.
How long is a human arm, Jeff?
Mine's about 3 feet.
It's also so low though. You'd have to like squat down to like reach into the.
It
Yeah.
is low. It was accessible. It was
Yeah.
ADA height. Yeah, exactly. That was
Yeah.
a miss. So
Not
we are in the
workable,
process. Yeah,
but
in the process of
I never
replacing
even
that for
noticed
you.
it. After being in there twice, I had never noticed the hole there.
Yeah.
well, we're getting new glass without a hole.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but you have such great details too. Like I love those nice large gold hardware that you have in the kitchen. The towel rack here shown on the shower photo there is great. Your light fixtures are all awesome. You and Saray did a wonderful job just with everything, but all the little details really come through really nicely here.
We had a good time doing that. That was neat.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful home.
Oh, bedrooms.
Oh yeah, and you still haven't my newest favorite part. I'm like, you gotta get to the part.
Which part? What are you talking about?
Keep going, keep going.
Oh,
Right
this part over here. Yeah, this is where Claire's sitting right now.
That's where I am.
Yeah,
Yep.
this wonderful sunroom. Your daughter painted that floor in there.
the floor.
It's pretty.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Incredible. That's painted. Incredible. Yeah, you have a nice little heater in there that warms you up as you need, but you have so much. Look at those awesome windows. They're all casement windows, so they crank open.
Yep.
You moved in. Let's see. We started you, I think, in November of 2023 for design,
Uh-huh.
and we moved you in. You moved from the south, and we moved you in what, July?
In July, yeah. That way I got to be accustomed to Maine before winter got here. It worked out.
Yeah, yay, good. Yeah, you have nice views and enough privacy, but lots and lots of light. I love that we did the in between the living room and the sunroom here. We have those on the photo on the right here. We have these
Yes.
upper windows.
Yeah.
So that way you're not limiting the light in the living room. You still have light coming in there. So
Yeah, that's a great feature. I like that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
Well, any other words of wisdom, Claire, on your experience? Not to put you on the spot, but
I guess
thank you.
just keep good touch with the builder so that you guys all agree on what you're doing and there's no questions. And we did that, and you guys have been great to work with. Real flexible, easygoing. We're happy.
Oh, thank you so much, Claire. You guys were one of my favorite projects last year. Dare I say my favorite?
Aw.
So thank you for being a wonderful customer for us, and
That's very
excited
nice.
to
Thank
keep in
you.
touch. So
Mhm.
I'm coming to see you this summer.
yes,
Yeah,
I know.
come on over, sit in the patio.
Yeah.
Yes. We were saying your daughter, she's a go-getter. So I know that yard is going to continue to just keep getting filled in and look, ever more filled in. So she's her own landscaper.
Yeah, landscaping happens all the time. Yeah, it'll be nice. So come on over.
Great. Well, thank you, Claire. Thanks for hopping on.
Okay, thank you. This is fun.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, we did get a question. And only if you feel comfortable sharing, but if not, that's okay too. As far as what your total cost of your project was.
The total came to about 400,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And that's
which is
all in.
really not bad. This is
Yeah.
Yeah, for the 1100, especially after Chris said what the other one cost, it's right around that same
Yeah,
ballpark.
and to let people know too, that is there's a Portland premium in there. In Portland, it's like an extra 30 or 40,000 to build this in Portland versus Westbrook. And it's just an unfortunate fact. Portland charges an enormous amount of money for their permitting fees. They've got sprinkler requirements. They've got an insane permitting process. So it's more expensive to build and live in Portland than it is immediately next door somewhere else.
but it's so worth it.
Yes. Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Claire. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
All right. And then, so we have one more house to cover. Thank you all for staying a little late.
All right. And yeah, we're gonna zoom out to Northborough, Massachusetts and have a look at Marsha Gleason's ADU.
Don't
So this,
have the best exterior photos of this one, but
no, we don't have complete ones, but I'm
Okay.
sure going into June of next year, it's gonna start looking a lot cleaner outside.
Yeah.
Is with us or is
Yep,
There
she's
she is.
coming on,
Oh,
and we have the
great.
Matterport for this one, so that's excited. So like, feel free to skip the photos if you would rather just go through the walkthrough, too, with it all decked out.
Yeah, she did.
The
Somebody was an
Matterport.
artist there. I don't know if that was Marsha or not, but somebody's an artist. It looks
Marsha
fantastic.
is an artist, and I hope she
Oh,
about
yeah.
the painting. She was painting Tommy and Nick on ladders as she and they're in
Yes,
her
I've been
studio.
wanting her to come on so I can ask her about sharing those. Marcia, we
Right.
just have you muted.
So there was a Matterport in here somewhere, April.
Yeah, it's at the end.
So I think she's coming on. I can. So this
There she is.
she is.
Hi.
Yay!
Oh, we're still muted though. I can't hear you.
Unmute. There
Oh,
I am. There.
yay!
Hi.
Well, thanks for coming on, Mark.
Oh,
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to share my experience. I'm so
I want
happy.
to tell you that Tommy and Nick say hi.
Oh, they were terrific. Really. They were just the best. Really. All of the workers were terrific to work with. All of the subcontractors were excellent. I'm very pleased. Very pleased.
Great.
Yeah.
It's great to hear.
All right, Chris, you wanna?
Yeah, I guess so.
You
Marcia,
go.
we worked within our square design path, and
Mhm.
I think some of the stuff you asked us had us kind of push it a little bit outside of the limits, but to kind of hit some of the stuff you were asking for, we did a couple different box widths, and got that mono plain roof in, which
Right.
I think in the early place we were worried it was going to get rejected by Northborough. Because of the look and feel, but it ended up didn't, and I think they're very pleased that it didn't they didn't reject it.
Yes, I was thrilled with that because it gave me so much more light to have 5 windows and the very tall ceiling on the south side. So that exposure during the day, it's like a huge solar factor. It's just bright and sunny in here all the time. Even on the cloudy days, it's just very bright and it makes it feel very spacious. So I love that. I love that feature.
Yeah, I think the transoms above the windows with the high ceilings, that's more light reflect off the white on the ceiling,
Yes. Yep.
which is
And
a huge.
I went with all white mainly for that reason, to maximize the space, and also because I had so many paintings that I wanted to put on the walls, and that just is a great background for everything.
Mhm. Yeah, it makes
Right.
it makes all of your artwork pop, and you've got wood furniture in there, and
Right.
it really looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm so pleased. And this was done, just the mission of it. My husband was very sick. He had been battling his cancer for 7 years. And this was built to enable me to have support on the same lot. We sold our house to our son and daughter-in-law and their 2 college-age boys. And that was a mutual benefit because they were living in a smaller condo without as much privacy, without the capability of having and hosting big family gatherings. And they just had Christmas with my daughter-in-law's whole family. And so it really became a mutual benefit. Even though my husband didn't live too long after I moved in, he was very, very happy to know that it was completed and that I would be really comfortable and at peace here. And I really am. So it's been great. Yeah. It's everything that I could possibly need. And I was happy to downsize and minimalize stuff and just use what I really needed and what I really all of the furniture that I took with me are things that I love and they all fit so well. So very pleased.
What I just keep hearing, like in talking with homeowners, like that downsizing process that is kind of daunting, and I'm sure like is a huge process, but in the end, like the benefit of just having only items that you love. We were just talking about that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to hear.
I also have my studio, and you can see from that picture that studio is connected by way of a pergola that the town required it to have a connection. And that was something I sent him some pictures of pergolas, and he requested doing that rather than a breezeway, which was more economical and really came out beautiful. They're cedar beams that I think Tommy had a connection with, and the cedar steps and the cedar overhang. It just came out far better than I ever
Yeah.
than I ever thought. And I
That's
I can walk out the door and walk right into my studio. So that part has been terrific. And the grass
great.
did come in. It looks pretty good for seed. It
Yeah.
really did come in. And then we had our driveway all paved and a walkway paved. And Jeremy helped us connect with people to do that. It came out super. So
Like, Marcia, I need to come take some photos because the boys took photos of your grass, but I couldn't do them because they kept cutting off parts of the house. So I'm like, I need to take
Yeah.
photos. Chris, or if Chris is busy, then maybe Jeff, you would know this, but why would the city require the connector? Like, it seems kind of silly to have to put the beams. It looks great in the end, but what would be the reasoning for that?
Yeah, that's kind of a vestige of the old rules in Massachusetts. Some towns
Yep.
required an ADU to be connected to an existing accessory structure.
Yes. Yes.
And this is a case where the Northborough Building Commissioner was a very good person to work with, and he realized that that rule was silly, and he allowed us to do basically the bare minimum for him to dot his I's and cross his T's and not be in any legal hazard. So we essentially put in the cedar beams so it looked nice and it got attached. Not always the case though. The worst example of attached to an existing structure occurred in North Berwick, Maine, in 2021, where the code enforcement officer hung us and the homeowner out to dry and made her build a 2-car garage to attach her 680
Oh.
to, and
So
it was just absurd. But luckily in Mass, with the Affordable Homes Act, towns can't require this anymore. So it would be up to the homeowner if they want a breezeway or a neat feature like that.
Hmm.
Marcia, is that laminate countertops in there? Is that the bath?
It is. I've never had anything but laminate, and it wasn't a priority to spend the money on anything that was more expensive to me. And I like that we brought it up for the splash back as well, and I'm very happy with it. It's a little darker than it looks in the picture. It looks like slate, and it really goes well with my minimal cabinets and my black appliances. And I've always loved mid-century modern vibe and furnishings. And so to me, this really, really came out great. This was right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think that was a good call. You saved money on the countertop and spent a little bit more money on those flat face cabinets, but I think all in all,
Yes,
definitely a really
yes.
good call.
I love
Yeah.
the cabinets, and Tim worked to find those for me. I just wanted them to be as simple as possible.
Mhm.
And the top are white laminate and the bottom is the wood. And I had just a folio or an album in my phone where I was collecting photos for a long time, planning what I wanted it to look like. And that just kept coming back to me, that I liked the combination of the white and the wood. And it's the same in the bathroom. The cabinets are wood on the bottom. So it all fits so well.
It's
you can
great.
see what you were talking about with the light. It's so bright and sunny in there.
It's so bright. Everyone comments on that.
Yeah, this
And
is
I
great.
did not have other closets other than the closet in the bedroom, simply because I wanted as much open space, but I found ways to use furniture. I have a large piece that's a Danish sort of cupboard cabinet in that spare little side room, the den or whatever, that houses a lot of things, my desk items and some other storage. And then I have a coat rack, I have a rack on the wall near the front door, and that's the cabinet. Yeah. So everything else is, I like the fact that those are movable and I can still keep that open feel without hallways and so forth. So this is a little extra long twin bed where any of the grandkids, or if I have a friend who wants to stay, it's an extra place in that spare room. And as I said, unfortunately, right toward the end of the project, my husband passed away, but he was very pleased to be able to know that everything came to completion. It gave him a great source of comfort.
That's great. I like your use of furniture pieces rather than built in terms of the coat rack
Mhm.
here and
Yep.
this closet right here that
Yep.
so that way should you change your mind, somebody else
Right.
moves into here, whatever the case may be, you left it a nice blank slate rather than having
Exactly.
it. That's great. It's very mindful.
And
Yep.
you can still go to flea markets.
What's that?
You can still go to flea markets in Maine in the
Yeah,
summer.
I know. I do love to find furniture from all different places, but it's kind of my hobby. Facebook
Great.
Marketplace is great too. Some of the
Yes, it
pieces were
is.
from there. Um,
Oh, but
Yeah.
everything kind of pops too. Like you get to see the items with everything being so simple, like the clean lines of the cabinets, the white walls. It's like your
Mhm.
artwork stands out, but also the items that you chose to keep
Mhm.
all become artwork in themselves. It has that gallery look to it. I love it.
Mhm.
It really
A-
does.
And I found some open shelving that fits in the kitchen to, I couldn't take my china cabinet with me, but I found those open shelves, and those are my 48-year-old white dishes that I got when I first got married, not there, but on the other wall,
Over
the
here. Yeah.
opposite. Yeah. So that was my china from when I got married. And I
Oh, that's awesome.
wanted to showcase it, and I do use it and just have it out there.
That's great.
We had a question. Is it costly to put real wood floors like these ones?
It was not. Tim gave me the amount that was budgeted for the flooring, and I decided to use the wood floors because I went and looked at a couple of kind of big box places and found flooring, and this was hickory, and the sample in the store looked a little less dark and light. So at first, when I saw the floors, I I thought it was a little busy because they were so, they're very natural with lots of striations and different patternings in them. But now I absolutely love them, and I did put the natural rugs down to cover some, so you have a little bit more of a restful feel to the floors. But was the flooring that I found was in that budget, and it wasn't more expensive. And as I say, I love it, and it goes through the whole house except for the bathroom.
And on flooring, to give you an idea of how we budget, so if we're installing a floating floor, whether it's vinyl or bamboo or anything that's clicked together, we're budgeting at $450 a square foot to install that material.
Mhm.
If we're doing nail down hardwood that has greater than 4-foot planks, we're going to be budgeting at $550 a square foot to install. So there's about $1 per square foot different for the installation. But as Marcia said, this birch product can be found cheaper than a lot of the new vinyl products.
Yeah.
So you can kind of get out of it pretty much equal, and flooring makes the house. So you really got to think about the flooring. And if you don't like plastic products, you should be looking at a floating bamboo or a nail down hardwood like this, and find places to save money to do the flooring. Don't do the quartz countertops, do the hardwood if that's what you want. Unfortunately, today with prices being so high, trade-offs like that tend to need to be made when you're trying to hit a budget. Roll the clock back 4 years ago, the trade-offs didn't have to get made, but now that they do, and that's part of what we'll try to do is help you through that and help you try to make some of those hard calls.
Yeah. I, as I said, I did pick and choose what was the most important to me. And for the time being, I still have up these shades that are $5, temporary shades.
Mhm.
And at some point I wanted to wait until I lived in the house and got to see what I would want before purchasing some nice shades. And now I know that I want them to be very translucent because I love looking outside and I love seeing the neighbors walking by with their dogs, and I love seeing who's pulling in the driveway, and my grandson's coming home from college, and just, I love being part of this neighborhood and staying in my space where I've lived for 37 years. So
Oh,
Great. Well, thank you, Marcia. This is an
thank
awesome home.
you so much.
I'm so grateful. Thank you. Yeah. Can I say I had the best team of workers? I really enjoyed their commitment, their skill,
You were
watching
giving
it
them
all.
snacks and stuff, and
I
they're
did.
like, we don't want this project to end.
Well,
Working
that's
Marcia.
that was just because I wanted to show my appreciation. They were just terrific.
Well, they appreciated it as
Yeah,
well.
that's
Wow.
great.
Yeah, our carpenters are rock solid. They're not a typical group of carpenters.
No,
They they rise above and beyond. They're good to talk to. They're
yeah,
not putting cigarette butts on your property. They generally know what's going on, so that you feel comfortable talking to them and that they're doing the right thing.
really, really did. And my husband enjoyed going out and seeing the progress and talking to them. They were also personable and very, very competent. I can't say enough about it. It's a great experience.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And thanks
Yeah,
for
thanks,
hopping
Marcia.
on tonight.
We just had one more question too that we could do. I know we went over, but there's only one, so we'll take that one and call it a night. And it was in regards to the Portland house, the last one we looked at. Does the square footage of sunroom count towards the town's max square footage allowed?
So it is for livable area only. So my understanding is that square footage of the sunroom does not count. Is that your interpretation, Chris, or is this?
Yeah, that sunroom's borderline. We could try to pass this off as not, but the town could also make a case that it does. And with anything like that, where there's ambiguity around living area definitions, you don't really know for sure until you go to permit. And we're always willing to push the envelope. But it always makes me laugh when somebody wants a 4-season porch in order to get around the size requirements. Like, 4-season porch, you mean like a room with a lot of windows? And I can't remember, Jeff, if this was included in that calculation, but specifically in Portland, if you're talking about a Portland project, it doesn't matter anymore. It's 4 units by right. And there's no size requirements on those additional units. And across Maine, a lot of places you can just build a second unit now with LD 2003. So it doesn't come up quite as much as it used to. In Massachusetts, though, it will keep coming up, and luckily in Massachusetts, under the Affordable Homes Act, they defined how they're calculating that, and they did define it as gross living area, and that is a published definition. So we're going to move away from that ambiguity and the risk of a town staff member being able to dictate what they want, because that doesn't always work in your favor. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it bites you in the butt, like it did to us and to Andrea back in North Berwick a bunch of years ago. Yeah, with that, if there's any other questions, we'll be closing, but I thank you all for joining us tonight. I was being fully authentic when I hadn't seen some of those houses yet, which makes me feel bad that I've been strapped to my desk too much. But it's amazing seeing what we put together last year and how some of our homeowners have moved in. And I'm really looking forward to this coming year. And we're gonna double the number of ADUs we built again. We're gonna continue to publish the goods and the bads, so it's transparent. And yeah, we look forward to meeting some of you. We look forward to doing some feasibility studies to help figure out what it's going to cost in your property, and have fun in 2025, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Night, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.